response and recovery plan.
I'm Natalie Brandon, Washington, with why comments from a U.S. Congresswoman elicited a sharp warning from the judge in the Derek Chauvin murder trial.
And scientists say an African coffee plant could help future-proof the drink against climate change.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Old Man Winter blows back into the 4 states today, bringing with him bitter cold temps and a taste of snow. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Let's go straight to Michael Hayslip, who's been tracking this drastic change in the weather.
Problem is, Mother Nature decided to open up that front door and say, "Old Man Winter, come join me for a day."
She wanted some
We've
company.
had everything from snow coming down. Now we're transitioning back into rain. And I really want to point out these defining lines of purple and pink here, because that's going to be your freezing rain. That's going to actually have the most travel impacts for us. It has been rather impressive, especially to the north, where we've picked up in excess of an inch and a half of snow so far. But harken back to yesterday, Joplin Regional Airport was able to get up to 71 degrees. So that really warmed up our ground, keeps it from accumulating, especially on our roads. Certainly you're going to see it on grassy areas and anything elevated. And that's why we still have a winter weather advisory for our counties in light purple right there. We'll get to the dark purple coming up, because that's a horse of another color coming tomorrow morning. 34 in Joplin, 40 in Chanute. So we did get a little bit of a warm up after it passed through, but 33 and 32 in Monette. And that's why, as this system drops off to the southeast, we are going to have it persist as snow as it moves into portions of northwest Arkansas. And look at the wind chills that we have right now. Anywhere from mid to high 20s is about as good as we get. As a matter of fact, when we talk about the wind chills, feels like 24 in Joplin. What if I told you Chicago and Minneapolis are actually warmer than what we are right here in the 4 states as far as what it feels like when you walk outside? A look at our temperatures today. Yeah, that's not going to do much, because that northerly wind will persist. Luckily, by the time we get to tonight, we back off a little bit. However, overnight, here comes danger number 2. As we drop down into the 20s, we have freeze warnings lasting until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Tanya, you and I have been harping on everybody that it's not only about the plants. Don't forget those outdoor pipes that you have. It'd be a great night to insulate them, or, as you pointed out this morning, drip the faucets.
And on top of that, don't forget about your pets. It's too cold for them.
Thank you very much. That's an excellent point.
All right, thanks, Michael. The city of Joplin enters phase 3 of its COVID-19 response and recovery plan. Council members last night voted to lift restrictions on indoor gatherings. The city already lifted mask mandates and some restrictions on outdoor gatherings. Private businesses might still enforce mask rules and social distancing, but that is not required by the city. The national spotlight shines on Newton County for an ordinance the commission passed back in February. The website Defy Tyrants interviewed Newton County Commissioner David Osborne about the county's Second Amendment Preservation Act. The ordinance is intended to provide protection against all federal acts, laws, orders, rules, and regulations that infringe on Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms. The act also allows the Newton County Sheriff's Department to arrest any federal agents who are trying to violate the ordinance.
We hope not to have to enforce it. Again, I wanted just to start the conversation with the ATF if they should get orders like that. Let's hope they don't get orders like that. Let's hope common sense prevails here, and we absolutely are able to have good conversations to say there's no need to violate the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens.
The Missouri House passed a similar act in February. It's currently in the Senate. Well, today is the first full day of deliberations in Derek Chauvin's murder trial. In Nation Watch, jurors are deciding if the former police officer is guilty of murder in the death of George Floyd last May. During lengthy closing arguments Monday, both sides made a final plea to jurors. Jurors are looking at 3 weeks of testimony from 45 witnesses. The judge in the Derek Chauvin murder trial says comments made over the weekend by U.S. Representative Maxine Waters could lead to a verdict appealed and overturned. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Had an in-chambers discussion.
After the jury in the Derek Chauvin murder trial left the courtroom Monday, Chauvin's defense asked the judge for a mistrial over comments made by U.S. Representative Maxine Waters at a protest Saturday.
We got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
The 82-year-old California Democrat later said she was not advocating for violence, but Chauvin's defense argued the comments were threats against the sanctity of the jury process. The judge denied the motion for a mistrial, but said the remarks could potentially lead to a verdict being appealed and overturned.
I wish elected officials would stop talking about this case, especially in a manner that is disrespectful to the rule of law and to the judicial branch and our function.
The judge also noted the jury is not supposed to be watching news coverage, but CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman says the judge should have followed up.
Before the jurors went to deliberate, they should have been inquired of each juror to see if they had any information about Maxine Waters' words, because it does potentially create an error for appeal.
Republicans on Capitol Hill have accused Congresswoman Waters of fueling tensions.
She was trying to incite violence, and in fact, there is violence going on right now in Minnesota because of her actions.
House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy said he would introduce a resolution to censure Waters, while Democrats are defending their colleague.
Perhaps Kevin McCarthy should sit this one out, because he's got zero moral standing. Clean up your own mess.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters Waters was talking about confrontation in the manner of a civil rights movement and should not have to apologize. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
A censure in the House of Representatives is unlikely, since Democrats would likely have the votes to squash the motion to censure should it come up. Former Kansas Governor Jeff Collier formally launches his campaign to reclaim his office in 2022. Collier narrowly lost the GOP primary in 2018 as governor to then Secretary of State Chris Kobach, before Kobach lost to Democrat Laura Kelly. Collier's launch in Topeka featured U.S. Senator Roger Marshall, who endorsed Collier. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at Noon.
Trouble is brewing for coffee drinkers. I'm Ian Lee with how climate change might affect your morning fix.
And later, we're making Twinkie cupcakes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Brace yourself, because your morning cup of joe could be in jeopardy as climate change threatens coffee plants around the globe. But perk up, because British researchers think they found a solution. CBS's Ian Lee has the story from London.
Not any old coffee bean can make a good cup. But the industry's best beans are under threat as climate change leaves a bitter taste.
We're seeing throughout the tropical coffee belt increasing temperatures, but also more erratic rainfall and increased drought.
Arabica beans make up more than half of the world's coffee, but scientists predict production could shrink by 50% in 30 years. So the search is on for a future-proof plant.
What we want is a tree that's sort of relatively compact, that is drought resistant, that is climate tolerant, and can give us a good yield with good flavor attributes.
In the dense tropical rainforests of West Africa, the coffee crisis may have found its savior. These little black berries of the rare Stenophila plant.
But importantly, Stenophila can grow and can crop under much higher temperatures than Arabica coffee.
The crucial coffee test is, of course, will it keep you going, but also it's gotta taste good. Researchers say Stenophila delivered.
It tasted fantastic. It had a good body, a good aroma, it had sweetness, it had complexity.
Apart from robust flavors, it's crucially a robust plant.
If we're interested in generating the coffees of the future, this is a really important little plant.
With an important bean to help keep the caffeinated world spinning. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Well, according to the National Coffee Association, 6 out of 10 Americans drink coffee every day, with most enjoying more than 3 cups. And I might be among those. Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
If you've walked down the snack aisle of any grocery store in the last 85 years, you've probably either put these in your cart or you have incredible willpower. Any idea as to what I'm talking about?
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Call it a Dinah Washington kind of day. What a difference a day makes, 24 little hours. We topped out at 41 degrees when we turned the clock to midnight. We are a good 31 degrees where we would normally be on this April 20th as we see the snowflakes coming down from the sky camera outside of Television City. Let's go ahead and break down our snow that's actually turning into some rain here. We knew it would eventually switch over on the front part and the back part. The snow totals have been impressive, especially when we talk about what happened up to the north this morning. Everything dropping off to the southeast, but we've still got a couple hours left here. On the west side, we do see the rain coming down in northeast Oklahoma. Give you an idea about the storm tracks and exactly where everything is headed. As far as our storm reports go, had some recent ones come in after the KOAM morning news. Have this one right here. They came out of Allen County, just above half an inch right there. The most impressive storm report we had actually came out of Coffee County, 2.5 inches of snow. And that thing came in at 9:36 this morning. Now let's talk about temperatures. Really, our ground warming up from yesterday when we got up to 71 degrees helped out as far as our travel concerns. A lot of that I saw hit the ground, eventually just absolutely turned into water. Yeah, you're going to see accumulation on the grass and elevated surfaces, but road conditions on all 4 of our states in the Department of Transportation pages looking pretty good right now. We've seen Chanute rebound back up to 40. This is why the snow is going to persist, though, through southwest Missouri. You're looking at Neosho 33, Monette 32, and even Miami sitting at 34 right there. That's going to be hard to get rid of that snow. And what a dichotomy we have as far as our jet streams, the split, and the temperatures that they play. You'll notice the one that runs right through us comes out of Canada, grabs that air and a little Gulf moisture, then jets off to the northeast. At one point in time this morning, this snow system lasted from Colorado all the way to upstate New York. We've kind of seen it trail off a little bit to the west. But look at what happens if you're part of this jet stream that comes off the Pacific. You've got warm temperatures that are sitting in the 70s all the way from Atlanta up to Boston. We just kind of got caught on the north side of the split, and that's why when we talk about our temperature change, a 31 degree difference from where we sit right now to where we were yesterday. And if we look at the entire contiguous United States, guess who's the clubhouse leader? We have seen the biggest drop in the United States today as far as what we had just 24 hours ago. Don't expect much of a rebound. We're going to be stuck in the 30s every now and then. Like I said, Chanute's already at 40. You may get to 41, 42. That's not really the crux of it. I want everybody to be safe tonight. A little slushy roads and whatnot, but then we've got to prepare for tomorrow because we're going to have widespread frost and freeze warnings all throughout Wednesday morning. As this thing dies off, turns back into showers on the back end, should be done with it, say 5, 6 o'clock, but then watch our temperatures right here. All right, that's getting dangerously cold for this time of year. Freeze warnings in effect for the entire 4 states. Those will last until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Plants, plumbing pipes that are outdoors, and pets. I always like alliteration when I can find it.
Plants, pipes, and pets.
Take care of them because, like I said, this is one of those April anomalies. We're going to be breaking down some, not only 4-state record cold tomorrow, nationwide record cold, where we saw that dividing line in the jet stream by the time we can get back into the 50s Wednesday afternoon.
More records to watch. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Corporal Charles Troutman II in the U.S. Army. The soldier hails from El Dorado Springs, Missouri. He served tours in both Kuwait and in Korea from 2007 to 2009. Troutman earned a number of honors, among them 4 Army Achievement Medals and both the Global War on Terrorism Expedition and Service Medals. To Charles Troutman II, we thank you, our 4-state hero. It's no secret today is 4/20, the one day of the year when you're expected to get the munchies. Today, Howard recreates a favorite American snack with a twist. We're making Twinkie cupcakes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you've walked down the snack aisle of any grocery store in the last 85 years, you've probably either put these in your shopping cart or you have incredible willpower. Any idea as to what I'm talking about? If you guess Twinkies, then you're right. As a matter of fact, every year we consume more than 500 million of these cream-filled treats. And because many of you have asked us if we have a recipe for homemade ones, we whipped one up. The first thing we do is combine a box of cake mix with some egg whites, water, a splash of vanilla, and a little lemon zest. Then give it a good mix. Now, rather than baking these in the traditional oval shape, we're going to bake ours in muffin tins. After these bake and cool, we take an apple core or a paring knife and remove the center of each cupcake. Then we fill each one with a homemade frosting. We finish these off with a bit more frosting, and there you have it, a homemade twist on an American icon. Between the light as can be cupcake and the lick your lips clean frosting, you can't miss. To get the recipe for what we call Twinkie cupcakes, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a surprise in every bite kind of way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
I want to know what they did with all those little cupcake holes that they took out. Well, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Snow and rain gonna last for a couple more hours. Just take it safe and slow out there. We'll all be fine. And then remember, overnight, pets, pipes, and plants. Because we've got a freeze warning. We're gonna drop down to the 20s tomorrow morning.
Take care of the 3 Ps. All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, another P. Solar panel installations in the U.S. are on the rise, and the number of Americans with solar power is expected to more than triple by 2030. We look at the growing earth-friendly trend and also a new solar panel system that looks more like a traditional roof. Plus, European drug regulators issue their verdict on the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine, and local marijuana dispensaries and patients celebrate 420 Day. How this year's celebration is a little bit different. Hope you join us. KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.